Hey, what is going on, everybody? East Tactics here, and today I'm going to be going over in great detail the exact things that you need to do to get your vehicle so that you can take advantage of these high-powered fans, specifically what to order, where to get it, and exactly how much it's going to cost. Now, first and foremost, though, what I want to talk about a little bit is this whole concept of taking advantage of these high-powered fans. So, as many of you know, I have the V4 Kraton, and you know, a lot of people would actually agree that the Arrma 6S Kraton is the king of bashers. Obviously, there's the X Max, which is a higher scale, and you've got the Outcast from Arrma. You've got the E-Revo from like Traxxas as well. So Traxxas and Arrma are huge competitors, but I mean, one of the most beloved RC bashers is the Arrma Kraton. And so if you've got an Arrma Kraton, a V4, a V3 even, or maybe even the newer V5 or the EXB, one of the most common things that you're going to run into eventually is this whole concept of taking advantage of cooling your electronics and taking care of your electronics. So between incorporating shock mitigation tactics with the way you install your servo, or even the way you install your fans. If you can see underneath that square 40mm fan, I've got some sorbothane cushions. So I have videos all about the protection of your electronics. So if you want to watch those, check those out. Now, when it comes to the cooling of your vehicle, one of the most common things in these vehicles, when it comes to extreme bashing at least, is breaking the fans. So you've got, when you buy the vehicle stock, you've got a stock fan that's going to come, in my case I've got the BLX 185. With a V5 Kraton, you're going to have the new Spectrum ESC, which also is going to have a fan in it. Now, when you start getting a lot more comfortable with launching your vehicle, and let's say you've upgraded and you've done a lot of things to increase the strength of your Arrma, you're gonna potentially break a fan, especially if you go to like skate parks. And the whole concept of the reason why these fans that are inside of the ESC they break is because when you hit the ground, the chassis slaps the ground. Now, if it's at like a skate park, you can imagine the ricochet and the shock reverb through the electronics, tends to break these fans. When you break a fan, you might be interested in actually upgrading it. Another thing that you might be interested in doing down the road is picking up a heatsink and a fan for your motor. Now, the reason why you'd want to stick a fan on your motor is because if you do anything to your setup that increases the pinion in here so you can run at higher speeds, let's say you want to jump up to a from the stock to like a 17 tooth pinion or an 18 tooth pinion, you're gonna need to think about cooling your motor. Now, when that happens, then it's a matter of, well, what kind of fans do you want to get for your motor? Do you want to just get your classic, you can actually pick up a Yeah Racing fan, and if you'll notice, or a heatsink, this one didn't come with two fans, but you can actually pick up two, I think they're 30mm fans. And what I mean by millimeter is the size of the square. You'll notice that this square is actually a 40mm and too big to fit in those holes. So you can get two small fans, which are, good. It's not a bad investment. However, a lot of people really like to take advantage of these high-end fans that really do an excellent job at cooling your vehicle. So when you do get these type of fans, these 40mm high-powered fans, you have the option of running them from either a 3S battery that you can attach. So you'll notice I have some straps here where I strap in a small 3S battery. And what's nice about this is this runs at 11.1 volts, which really sends quite a bit of power, more power than what your stock electronics, your receiver, your ESC actually output. So if you're running the V5, you're putting out 7.3 volts. If you're running the V4, you're only putting out 6 volts unless you've got an external BEC, which is another video. If you want to learn about an external BEC, just check out my library. Now, so again, a highly sought after thing is really taking advantage of high-powered cooling and finding a way that you can actually increase the stability, the sturdiness, and the strength of these fans so that they are basher ready. Obviously, the stock fans out the gate do a decent job, but again, they break. And so I went on a path to basically find not only the best cooling system, but also the best, strongest cooling system. And so anyway, long story short, today I want to go over exactly what you're going to need to buy and the prices. You can see here, I have it all laid out and exactly what you need to do to set it up. So let's dig into it. All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to determine whether or not you want to run to a 3S battery, or if you want to just plug your, you can plug directly into your ESC, which is not as powerful. So just always keep that in mind. If you want to run from either directly out of your ESC, or if you want to run your fans into your receiver box and into an open spot, it's going to be running at whatever voltage your vehicle's at. For the V4, again, it's only 6 volts. So in order to run these fans to a 3S battery, you need an adapter. This right here is actually a switch that converts from your JR connectors into the terminal for your 3S battery. So where do you get this switch? Well, here's the thing. I have looked high and low. I can't find it on eBay. I can't find it on Amazon. The only place that I can find it is if you buy directly from, one of these kind of third-party companies like NTF, or actually there's a new company that's kind of coming out of the woodworks, but they're from Sweden, called Thunderoos, and they actually are going to start selling similarly like NTF, basically fan packages, high-powered fan packages that are going to run you anywhere from $50 to $60 for a single fan setup, and $120+, and that's not even including shipping, to get kind of this setup that I'm going to be talking about today, which is obviously to run both an ESC fan and a motor fan with these high-powered fans in their most powerful way. So you need to get the connector. All right. Now this switch is not actually mandatory. You don't necessarily have to have a switch. Technically, you can just run straight from your 3S battery right into a fan. Or you can actually split this into two, so you can run basically straight from your 3S battery, bypassing the switch, and just going to two separate fans. All right. So, but where do you get this switch, and where do you get this where it's even available for splitting to two fans? Well, I've basically gone through and I've created a checklist and the prices and everything so that you can buy what you need from Amazon. There's the fans that you're going to want to pick from AliExpress, and then there's some of the components that you're going to need to get from alizatracing.com. All right. So in order to make this switch, you're going to want to pick up these components. If you want to take advantage of putting the braiding on it, you're going to go and you can buy it off Amazon. You'll get 16 feet of it, so you'll have a lot extra, but it's only $6. You're going to want to get a splitter for $7. This is a 2-pack. You're going to want to get, this is the important piece right here. This goes into your 3S battery. You can get a 3-pack of these for $9. And then this is the switch itself. If you want to take advantage of it, you can get a 2-pack for $9. So the total for like all these items is $30. However, you don't necessarily have to use the switch. So again, you can switch this, you can turn this connector into this right here and just run two fans without the switch, which would be a total of $16. Okay. Obviously you don't have to get the braiding. This is just an optional feature, so keep that in mind. Now I am going to create a video after this one that gives you this basically how to convert this into this, whether you want the switch or you just want to bypass the switch. That'll be my next video after this one. All right. So the next thing you're going to want to pick up is you're going to need your screws that are going to run basically down through the fans into the mount. Okay, these right here are the washers, so you're going to need these little washers. And if you don't already have these little heat shrink tubes, so you can basically, you know, do this kind of stuff right here. This guy didn't use heat shrink, so you don't necessarily have to get the heat shrink tubes. He just used tape, your option. So anyway, that's $10 for that kit. Now, these are those little washers. You can pick up a 10-pack for $5 off of Amazon. Here is the heat sink. Now, the heat sink, this heat sink, again, if you remember from the beginning of this video, I was showing you that these fans don't quite fit on this. Well, you know me, I'm going to implement a tactic to make this fan fit on this, and that'll be a follow-up video. Okay, I have searched high and low to find a heat sink that actually wraps all the way around the motor. If you notice, if you look in here, this goes all the way around the motor, secures tightly to the motor, and you're not going to get any of the shifting around and that kind of nonsense. And I can't find a heat sink that does that is compatible with these fans. If you guys know where one of those heat sinks are, let me know. Otherwise, watch my follow-up video on how I incorporate this into this, and then also incorporate shock mitigation tactics into this setup here. So that'll be coming shortly. All right, the next thing you're gonna need is the fans themselves. Now, I do have another video that kind of talks about in specific detail the differences, because these fans, you can buy these fans from eBay, AliExpress, you know, and they're like way cheap. However, there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of different things you got to watch out for to make sure you get the best one. Well, I've done the research, and I found the best one that you can get with the most power and the best basher strength. So anyway, you can buy a 3-pack of these fans off of AliExpress for $10. Crazy. All right, so the next thing you're going to want is a battery. I recommend this small 850 milliamp. This will actually run both your fans if you're running the dual fan setup for probably 2 runs before you need to charge it, depending on how many milliamps your batteries are. But this will definitely, you know, this will definitely run through an entire battery pack and then some. And obviously you want it to be small, lightweight. Okay, now the next thing you're going to need is, this is a special piece, I just kind of drew a picture of it, that you need to pick up from shopalzaracing.com. It's $11, and then that's the cover for the fan, for $5. The thing is that for whatever reason, nobody makes this piece in the US yet. So shout out to like M2C, make this, start making it. If you need to redesign it or something, I don't know if they've got a patent on it or whatever, I don't know. But slightly redesign it or something. We need something in the US where we can just get these shipped directly to us for $11 and not have to pay $14 in shipping. And actually he charges $25 for shipping if you don't pick like the slower paced shipping. So anyway, for these 2 pieces from shopalzaracing.com, you're looking at 30 bucks. All right. So what is the total cost? And is it worth it doing the DIY method compared to just going with like NTF or this new company from Sweden called Thunderoo's fans? That's the question, right? So I went ahead and broke it down. So right here, all these little things that I've got listed out here are just listed in a row right here. So you've got your screw, your heat sink, your braids, etc., 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 all the way down. Well, the total cost for all this stuff comes to $129. But here's the kicker. If you want to pick up this setup from either NTF or, like I said, Thunderoo's, you're going to spend about $120 for a dual fan, basically both setups, and that's not including shipping. And like I said, the Thunderoo's is from Sweden, so I guarantee shipping is going to be at least 25, 30 bucks. So you're looking at 150 bucks for this setup from Thunderoo's, give or take. And from NTF, you're going to look at about the same price. He charges $60 for the fans, and then if you want 2 fans, that's $120. And if you want to get these things right here, he charges $10 for these, so you're looking at $130. And then now you're looking at, you know, shipping after that, so $150. So again, it's not cheap to get these fans, but what's crazy is the fans themselves are only literally $3 or $4 a piece. What ends up costing the most is picking up the little miscellaneous things so that you can actually, pull all this stuff together. And anyway, so where's the value? What's the better deal, right? Well, obviously, doing this DIY method is a way better deal for a couple of reasons. One, you're going to get 3 fans as backup. You're going to get a whole box of screws as backup. You're going to get, if you end up deciding to go with the heat shrinks, you're going to have like surplus on those for like the rest of your RC career. And then right here, you're going to get 16 feet of this stuff. So you're going to have more than enough to, like, I don't know, continue making extras if you need. You're going to get a 2-pack here, a 3-pack here, a 2-pack here. So you're going to be able to facilitate, if you have multiple vehicles that you want to put these fans into, just for an additional, buy 6 fans if you want for 20 bucks. Then you can basically incorporate all this stuff into 2 vehicles for like 150 bucks or something like that, instead of spending double that if you end up going with Thunderoos or NTF. Now, here's another tidbit to point out. This heat shrink, the braid cord, the switch, you don't necessarily have to use a switch, and the countersunk washers, technically you can tighten this thing down without the countersunk washers, but I recommend them. They add a little bit of flair as well. But you can actually drop this down to $100 and basically run these high-powered fans on both your fan and your ESC, which, So really, there you have it. You can spend $100 and kind of do away with some of these little flair items, and do away with the switch. Maybe you've got some of the stuff lying around, and that's the other thing. A lot of these things you might actually have lying around. You might already have these screws. You might already have heat shrink. You might not care about the braids. You might have a splitter or something lying around. So if you've already got a lot of these components, you're going to save quite a bit. So, and then your battery, right? So again, doing it yourself, 129 or 100 with 3 fans and extra goodies across the board. Plus this heatsink is going to be, if you subscribe to my channel, you're going to get the scoop on how to incorporate a heatsink that's actually going to secure itself to your motor, especially if you're, obviously we're talking about the stock motor for either the 2050 kV motor that's stock, or you're talking the Spectrum kV motor. If you've upgraded to something that's a different size, I don't know if this fan's got a range of how well it will fit with other motors, but my guess is you can probably make it work. Anyway, so that's the order list and the exact cost loadout for doing DIY high-powered fans. Check out the description for links to all these items. I have a link in the description called DIY high-powered fans, or high-powered fan DIY, and it's going to have anything that you see here that says Amazon. It's going to have in that list. And then you're going to want to jump over to shopalza/racing.com to pick up those 2 pieces here. And then that's Amazon. And this is the only thing that you get from AliExpress, the fans themselves. And then, yeah, that's pretty much sums it up. Just check out the links in the description. So basically, guys, that's kind of everything I wanted to share. I know I already dropped one video that kind of just goes over the details of what you need to know about high-powered fans. This video is more of a, what is the exact way to get it, and how much is it going to cost specifically. So pay attention for my next video, where I'm going to show you exactly how to convert this over to this. And then I'm also going to be doing, I myself like to solder the wires together. Obviously you can just twist them together and throw some duct tape around it if you want to make it quick and easy. But this right here I picked up off of Amazon, and it's basically a soldering iron for 20 bucks. And I am not kidding. This soldering iron is amazing. So I definitely want to show that to you guys in my next video. So pay attention for that. Just another thing that I want to point out real quick before I end the video. First of all, I want to put a big thank you out to all the people that have supported my channel from Patreon and other means, and sort of point out an interesting tidbit about this whole concept of doing this DIY. As you know, you're going to get a lot of extras, right, that you kind of don't need if you end up going this route, which I mean, you will end up using probably throughout your RC journey, especially when you buy multiple vehicles, whatnot, this, that, or the other. However, I'm in a current situation where I kind of tend to do a lot for the people that do support my channel, and so I've got, you know, these fans in stock. I've got obviously enough screws to go around. You know, when you look at this kind of stuff right here, I mean, tons of these connectors. And so I guess what I'm getting at is, you know, while I know that the people that have supported my channel are not doing it because they want to get goodies or they want to get items, they do it because they want to support me and they appreciate what I've done for them in their journey. Keep in mind, if you do support my channel, you know, look me up on Patreon, and you'll find that there's a couple of tiers that basically where I give away silent giveaways. You know, you can probably save yourself the hassle of trying to pull together some of this stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to send you like every single bit, but you know, when it comes to the screws, you don't need to spend $10 on those screws. You know, when it comes to the heat sinks, when it comes to these little washers, when it comes to the splitters, and you know, stuff like that, even the, you know, excess pieces of this stuff here, you don't need to go and buy the kit, especially if, you know, you communicate with me via the Patreon message boards that you're looking into building, you know, the ESC fan setup and the motor fan setup. I will do everything I can to kind of make your life a little bit easier. Also keep in mind, you know, with the way Patreon works, you do set up for like a monthly reoccurring, you know, like contribution. You know, obviously I'm going to greatly appreciate if you continue to support me, but you know, you don't want to like sit there and kind of keep paying over and over again if your only motivation for doing this is to get like these items. Ultimately, what I'm getting at is to save yourself a little bit of time, trouble, and hassle. Kind of keep that in mind. Any support that I can get to help me grow my channel, I always greatly appreciate, but I do want to make it worth your while, and so, you know, keep that in mind. I've got lots of extras, so I'm always willing to pay it forward to the people that want to support me. I appreciate it. So anyway, guys, it's been kind of a late night broadcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. I will catch up with you guys on the next video. East Tactics out.